Hey, hello. Hey to everybody in the chat. So great to see you there. Hello to all the channel members as well. Great to see you. Welcome everybody. I'm Natalie. This is Scientology Life After a Cult, where we recap the Scientology news that has the internet buzzing. I share about my 35 years in Scientology, leaving with 3 generations of my family, and do interviews with people within the community. So when you hit that subscribe button, set that notification bell so you can get a notification for when I go live, especially since the interviews are not at any set time. Thank you everyone for joining me a little early today. I appreciate that. I got a meeting I got to jump to right after this, but thankfully it is online. So I just have to turn this way and look at a different computer. Thank you, my mods, too, for being here. Nancy's here. Dip Me in Glitter is here. And My Tony is here as well. Thank you for your help. As we go along today in the recap, if you guys have questions, write questions in all caps and put it on there. And we will work hard to get to as many of them as we can. Rishi? I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering that, but it sounds like a really pretty name. Thank you for becoming a member. Hip, hip, hooray. And Tommy C's cat. Yo. Tommy C's cat. That's funny. I like that. I like that. Okay, let's see. Where are we at? You guys. The in my mind, and we're going to talk about it towards the end, this news that just came out where in the LA Times about how Scientology harassed prosecutors in the Danny Masterson case. Ooh, it is like that. We're going to get to that. We're going to cover a bunch of protest news. We're going to share about a few full circle moments from my mind. Because if you've been watching, have you guys been seeing, we talk about Tory Magoo. I did an interview with her yesterday. Excuse me. Tory Magoo 44 here on YouTube. She is an OG Scientology critic, and it is so beautiful to see her out chatting with the young people and not so young people, all the people who are out there protesting Scientology. We're going to look at a few clips from that because I am so excited about Tory Magoo 44 being back in action at the young age of 76, I might add as well. Now, first, we're going to go take a look at oh my gosh, this is a clip. We got a clip from a video that I cannot believe I did not see this. And thank you for those who sent it to me because it made my day. It made my day. I'm going to share a little clip of it, but you got to go watch the full video. I had to watch this multiple times because this whole We Stand Tall video from Scientology was just hilarious when it came out, and it did not age well. And it's just beautiful to me that there are people like this gentleman here who are going on and doing things like when a cult makes a music video, Scientology, We Stand Tall. Cool thing about it, though, he gets into the tax exempt status and how that was gotten. So he does a whole educational piece on Scientology as well. So it's not just completely trolling them about the song. That's the bonus for me. But he educates as well. So let's take a look at that. Let's get back over there.
Pasty face choir. Yes, all these very Caucasian men were the top brass in Scientology at the time. And right there, see that little kid standing there at a resounding 5'4"? That's our fearless leader, David Miscavige, wearing a shirt that screams, "I am a human 90s trapper keeper." Seriously, anytime I've watched this video, and yes, sadly, it's been more than once, I always fixate on that goddamn shirt. You're the leader of a religious organization, and that's how you're going to dress? While everyone else around you are dressed like Southern Baptist deacons. When I zoom in on the shirt, it just raises more questions than answers. Also, fun fact, the guy standing right behind David Miscavige is Mike Rinder, a man who would go on to co-host a show called Scientology and the Aftermath with Leah Remini. Pasty face choir.
Tell me in the chat, tell me in the comments, is that not just fabulous? Dressed like a bunch of Baptist deacons. I just almost died. I almost died. Now remember, in defense of David Miscavige, it was the 80s. But still, I know, Liberty, human trapper keeper. Oh my God, I just died. Oh, now that's how you kick off a morning. Oh my goodness, it was so great. The other thing that's so great that I saw is Jeff over at PTS for Life is tearing it up and exposing the Scientology GoFundMe's that are happening. It is it's disturbing yet hilarious. Which is kind of how I would describe a lot of Scientology and the experiences in Scientology. But Jeff has found multiple GoFundMe's by Scientologists where they're raising money for the Way to Happiness Foundation to print Way to Happiness booklets. Now, you might ask, Natalie, but wait a minute. Aren't the Way to Happiness booklets printed by Scientology themselves? By Bridge Publications, maybe? Their own, like they print them themselves, so surely they sell them at a discount. No, they do not. Full price. You can raise money though, if you're a Scientologist or not, and then you can give the money to Scientology full price to print those booklets for you to go then promote Scientology. That's how that works. Yeah, GoFundMe's. GoFundMe's. It's like it's crazy. But let's just take a look here. Let's see what Jeff has to say. You got to go watch the whole video because he goes over like 3 of these things.
In this regard, to spread Way to Happiness, and the goal was £7,500. They were able to raise in 3 years, although nothing has been active for 3 years. So in that first little period of time, £2,971. And these are all probably from Scientologists in the area. And
my mic was muted. Go watch the full video and then check out the day before because there's another video he does with one that I think might have been for the Foundation for a Drug-Free World or something like that. But oh, it's good. It's so good. It's so good. Emporium, etc. Jim, thank you for becoming a member of the channel. Hip, hip, hooray. I appreciate that. Vanessa, you too. Hip, hip, hooray. Love seeing you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you are an iPhone user and currently on your iPhone and you don't see the join button, go in the description of this video and there is a link to go ahead and become a member of the channel. And everybody else should be able to see it just fine. All right. So check out Jeff's video. It's super awesome because it just like lays it all out there. Some of the craziness that Scientology is doing to still continue to raise money and get Scientologists to pay for it, to promote Scientology at full price. You just can't make this stuff up. Now, you guys, did you see Aaron's video yesterday growing up in Scientology? The one about Scientology buying the building that City Hall is in Clearwater? That was definitely a moment. Let me tell you. What was it, like $60 million or something? We're going to look at a clip of this video. You got to go see the whole thing, though. I'm telling you, Aaron really lays it out. And it's just going to look full-blown North Korea up in there in downtown Clearwater. That's all I got to say. That's not all I got to say, but we're going to start there. Full-blown North Korea. I'm talking like they do these, you know how they create these offices on the lower level in Scientology, but no one's ever there for their different front groups. So it looks like there's something happening. There's not going to be retail. This is going to be even more of a ghost town in Clearwater. And this is what happens when Scientology moves into your town and takes over. This has been happening in Clearwater for years, and I could not believe this when Aaron shared this news. So let's take a quick look at a little snippet.
And despite the fact that some wealthy Scientologists live in that building, that was at least a building that Scientology did not control. Now David Miscavige owns all of the street level commercial property under that, on that, I say under the tower. It's the first floor, the condo towers above it. David Miscavige now controls all of that commercial real estate, which means he will make sure it's vacant, on the prime property of Clearwater's Bluff. Absolutely unbelievable. The duo, who once had a vision of transforming Clearwater into an international destination for commerce, residents, and visitors, said the massive government instability has created an environment that is no longer welcoming to business. Festus Porbani said the city's community redevelopment agency has had 5 directors.
5 directors. 5. And I think they had 2 city planners too in 2 years. If I remember correctly from that video. That is crazy. That is not, oh, something happened and then this was difficult, so we couldn't do that. That's intentional. That is Scientology putting the press, as in like pushing down, suppressing, you might say, the city of Clearwater and creating that government instability. Oh, that was crazy. Just absolutely crazy. All right, Liz Gale. You guys got to keep track of this one. This is so great. Liz Gale here on YouTube is doing a red string project. We shared a little bit about it, but man, she is really making progress with this. It is amazing. The strings tell an entire story. And we're going to take a little look at one of those stories that she shares with the strings, but this is incredible. One, it's artistic. It's educating about Scientology. It's exposing. It's complete protest art. I love it so much. And Liz is just so darn creative. Liz is the one, Liz Gale, who created the scroll of the second generation kids of Scientology who spoke out against Scientology that was shared in Los Angeles the last time they were there protesting. It's just so great. But you got to see this and hear this story that she shares. It's another one. Makes you go,
Sarah
ooh.
Northrop and Jack Parson. And if you know, you know why I put.
Let's back it up, actually.
It was Sarah Northrop and Jack Parson.
And if you don't know, Jack Parsons was very involved with Aleister Crowley with that whole black magic thing and all that. And he had a girlfriend named Sarah Northrop. At least he did for a little while.
And if you know, you know why I put the Fool tarot card. It's because later on, follow the string, L. Ron Hubbard and Sarah Northrop ran away together. And they basically took Jack Parson's money, and they were supposed to buy some boats and bring them back to him. And they just took his money and ran. And so when he complained about it to Aleister Crowley basically called him the Fool.
Called him the fool for falling for con man L. Ron Hubbard, who not only stole his money, but took his lady in the process as well. There is going to be story after story to this with her Red String project. So check it out. I love that she's doing it. Other big news in the protest world yesterday, you may have all heard. You've probably been wondering, you've probably been worried, concerned, what has been happening with this? Well, we found out yesterday. There has been freedom, and there has been freedom for D.O.A. socks. They have been returned. Makes me think maybe my donuts are not far behind. Check it out.
Didn't see the socks. I gotta be careful with these. Keep it in the bag. We'll get that auctioned off right away to the highest bidder.
Love how he gives them the sniff test. You don't know what's been being done with those. You just don't know. You don't know. But yes, freedom for the socks. Absolutely. All right, so now let's take a look at last night in front of the blue buildings off of L. Ron Hubbard Way, where there was chalk art going on. There was protesting, live streaming, and super cool. It was Tory Magoo 44 story time. And as I said earlier, Tory Magoo 44 is an OG Scientology critic. She has been handing Scientology their butts for 24 years. That is longer than some people who are protesting have been alive, actually. And yesterday, you can find it on my channel. I finally got to do an interview with Tory. Absolutely loved it. She's such a wealth of knowledge. You got to check out the interview. It's on my channel, and it's on her channel too. So go watch it over there. She just blows my mind. She blows my mind. She's so inspiring. She's got such a great attitude. It's just a joy to talk to her and learn. So just to hear many of her stories, but I love how she just seems to be like this bridge, if you will, between these different iterations of protesting Scientology, and she knows so much about it. And she was on the other side. She was on the Scientology side. Her job was to handle the protesters. And then she crossed over and joined the protesters. So amazing stories. This is from, let's see, this is from Lara FM stream. Let's take a little look at this. You got the chalk art going on. It's just fabulous.
Just showing the infamous black socks.
Yeah.
Guys.
Actually, this clip, the next one's about Tory, but this is right before where they're at the building and are sharing the contact info for the SPTV Foundation in case any Scientologists need help leaving Scientology, recovering from it, especially Sea Org members. There is help out there.
Here's the evidence. He got his infamous black socks back. It's just so it's on the record.
They
It's
just
on the
released it
record.
today. It took over a month to release the black socks. I'm not sure exactly. We're still figuring out what this black sock conspiracy is.
Wait,
They
did you
have-
get the bag too?
I got the bag too.
Wow. Okay.
They gave me
They gave the
they gave me
cords.
the cords and the mouse, which couldn't be released until a month, 5 weeks later, 6 weeks later, and my socks.
So what about the computer and the phone?
They told me that they're going to be charging me with another felony, or that they're
Trying to.
they're going to do another felony, and that they have 3 years to give it back.
Yeah, so apparently he got the socks back, he got the cord back and the mouse for his computer, but no computer and no phone, and was told we have 3 years to get it back to you. Oh, and also we're going to try and charge you with another felony. What is up with that? So that is something we need to pay attention to and keep an eye on. Now, this is the clip that I thought we were going to. This is Tory Magoo outside the blue buildings. Love seeing her there. And who we got here? LA Cam, you guys. LA Cam is back. He is there. He streamed last night. You can see him right there in the video with Jacob HARKEY and Confident Chris. Let's take a look at this.
My son starts crying, and I said, "Look, the only product you have right here is look at my son. He's crying. This is bullshit. You should put down your flags and go home." And she did. She put down her flags and she left. And so I just kept going person all around the town. Started going to meetings, faced Richard Kelly.
It's kind of hard to hear her, but she shared multiple stories. You can see it on Tory Magoo 44 stream. You can see it on, that was from Jessica PALMADESSA stream, also on Confident Chris. Just fantastic to hear. And I'm so glad that she's sharing that, because it is such this full circle moment. And to be able to bring the knowledge that she has, both from the other side, being behind the wall in Scientology, and the other side outside of Scientology. And here's what blows my mind, you guys. The differences between how Scientology handled or would communicate with people who were critics of Scientology compared to now is drastically different. Back in the day, they would communicate. There'd be more communication. You've heard Tory talk about how when she was talking to Odo, is it Odo? You know who, the Scientology OSA guy. He actually used to talk to her back in the day. They would have conversations back and forth, to the point where, I mean, she cared about him and wanted to know that he was okay. And these days, that is just, there's no communication. All you get is, "You're trespassing. You're trespassing. Leave the property. You're trespassing. Leave the property." I mean, that's all you get. That's all you get from security. It's very different. It's weird. It's odd. It is bizarre. And most of all, let's be honest, it is just culty. It is just showing how much more of a cult, just when you think that Scientology could not get any cultier. When you compare it, if there were a graph, and Scientology loves their graphs, so we really should have one somewhere back here. On the level of cultiness in Scientology, it would be straight up and vertical. That's what that would be. Some straight up and vertical cultiness. And let's be real. We're here for it, right? That's what we're here to show. This is, you just got to point your cameras at them and let them do the work. This is from Jacob HARKEY's stream. And Tory shares a story of how she became part of the Office of Special Affairs. We're just going to share a little bit. You got to go watch the whole thing to get the whole story.
You got to do a lot of things that these people don't get to do, right? Like this, these people are more in a routine than you were, I would say, because you were high up, so you kind of,
And I was skulking around because they routed me out of the Sea Org. but I kind of had the Sea Org, I'll do anything kind of thing.
Yeah.
So my whole thing with OSA, you want to know how it started? We moved from LA to Florida.
Mhm.
And we're living there. And in Clearwater, they had Save Sparkling Clearwater, Stamp Out Scientology. And it was this guy, Richard Tinney, who was the city commissioner trying to get to be mayor. And so now this guy, Milt Wolf, comes to me, calls me in his office, and he goes, okay, you have to handle this. And this is hundreds of cars driving back and forth, honking and screaming and yelling how awful Scientology is. And I'm not exaggerating. I've never seen anything like it.
Just really interesting. Just such an interesting story on how she got involved with the Office of Special Affairs after the Sea Organization. And I totally get it, because when I left the Sea Organization and became a regular member of Scientology, not immediately because I had a freeloader dad and that whole thing, but later on when I got going again in Scientology, I did some PR work for the Office of Special Affairs locally in my area, and in large part because I had been a Sea Organization member. So that happens sometimes where they're like, well, you did this before, you could probably do it again. But look, check it out. We're both out now and talking and exposing what happened and what we were involved in. So yeah, it doesn't really work, Scientology. There's something about when you are sent out to handle critics of Scientology or do some press, like I had done. I remember I did a radio interview and some other things for Scientology, and you start getting these questions about L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology, and you've never heard them because we didn't read or listen to things that were bad against Scientology. And it seeps in. And it definitely, I was already, having my doubts about Scientology, and it helped to solidify that. The more you find out about the lies, that L. Ron Hubbard's whole history and narrative in Scientology is a complete and utter lie. I mean, there's parts of it that are true, but the parts that they really pump up, no, they are not. All right. Now, this happened the other night in front of the Hollywood Testing Center. This is going to be from Selfless Self from his stream, where a couple of guys stopped to talk to Selfless Self. And was it Lara or Mindy? I think Mindy Willens was there. And these guys, well, you'll see what happened. It's like, what is the deal? What happened here?
Oh, hi, guys. Oh. Good evening. How you doing?
Keep your hands up, guys, and go. We'll talk to you guys right now.
Wait, all of us?
Not just us.
What?
We're like already on the ground.
Oh, my Lord. What is going... Dude, they are totally fine. What are you doing?
These guys were not even like protesting. They were just talking to Selfless Self and Mindy.
They were just talking to us.
They do end up being let go, but you kind of go, oh, so now we're handcuffing people who just even speak to protesters. What is this? What is this craziness? Let's go after the tourists. It's just bizarre. So we'll have to see if that happens again. Let's go take a look at Pasadena, where MD Media 18 has been out there protesting Scientology in Pasadena. And a Pasadena police officer came up because why? Because Scientology called, whining about something. I think they didn't like his sign was part of it. The sign you don't see in this clip, but the sign said something like Scientology holds people hostage. And shockingly, Scientology took offense to that. They did. They're probably like, we don't hold people hostage. Holding people hostage. Now, in Scientology's defense, they're a little right. Holding someone hostage would be you're holding them and then you're like, I want this to release them. What Scientology does is really more hold people against their will. I think it's more kidnapping than it is hostage, but maybe they're the same and I just have a misunderstood word on it. So, like I said, Scientology took a little bit of offense to saying that they hold people hostage. So maybe kidnapping or against their will might be a better way of putting it. I don't know. But the police show up and MD Media 18 was there, and this is what happened.
How you doing, officer? Yes. How'd you know my name?
I guess they know you.
How do they know my name? You mind if I put this on you?
Of course.
See, he's like, how do they know? How do they know his name? We all know how they know his name. But I love now that Scientology will call up the police and go, yeah, the guy's name is this, or the lady's name is this. Go after him.
I'm also recording.
Of course, that's fine. Yeah. May I get your name?
Officer Duran.
And your serial?
2012.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Hey, it's all about good communication.
Of course.
So they're claiming that you planned that this is not a peaceful protest. I'm not sure what your side is.
That it's not a peaceful protest? Is that what they're saying?
That's what they reported to us. But you seem cool with me. So
I'm not yelling at anybody. I might be shouting a little bit, just saying,
you're within your First Amendment right to do so.
Exactly, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. And here's the thing. You can say all sorts of stuff within the First Amendment, so long as you're not inciting violence.
Of course.
That's the only thing.
And I would never do that.
Absolutely.
That's wrong. I'm not a violent type of guy.
Isn't that great? How do they know my name? I don't know. So a big nothing sandwich, basically, because he is there peacefully protesting. But Scientology, they're going to try, right? They're going to try. We just know that that is the thing with them. They're going to try and they're going to fail. I love this. Natalie's body, they still have to pay a freeloader bill to leave. Yes, when you leave Scientology as a staff member, you do. And I love that name. That is hilarious. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. We're going to go to Portland. And there were a couple things that happened there in Portland that we're going to look at. Hey, Carrie Ann was there. She holds the record, I do believe, for blind tech being executed. And as soon as they see her, they do bring down the blinds. But here's the weird thing, you guys. They do it in the strangest order. And Carrie Ann calls this out. And I thought it was interesting. Like, why don't you just, go down the row of each one? But that's not how they close the blinds. Why? It just has me wondering. It's one of those things that just sticks in my head that probably should not have any consequence or be important. But I'm just now thinking about it. Why? Why do they do that?
Everybody who comes by here when we're sitting out here, we tell them that they close the blind. I will watch for the police, Mana. We've had the cops called on us here a few times.
See, she doesn't close that one right there.
Oh, she's going to leave these. I don't know why. You know it's coming, but it never gets less strange. Yeah, and you know what else doesn't get less strange? Why they do it in this all-fired, wacky-do order. It's like we're playing whack-a-mole.
So true. It's just weird. I don't know. You guys tell me in the chat. Tell me in the comments if you're catching this on the replay. Jump into those comments. What is up with that? What is it? Just, I don't know. Are they trying to get her to move around? Just why not? It's so inefficient. And maybe that's why this bothers me, because in Scientology, especially in this organization, a big thing is efficiency, being effective and being efficient. This is neither of those things. It's probably, who knows what it is. It just stuck in my head. And now, I'm going to wonder. I'm going to wake up at 1 a.m. and go, why in Portland are they closing the blinds in this weird way? Okay, this is also in Portland. We're going to take a look at Rika. Rika in Portland, Chalk Tech versus Mop Tech, because it was like a showdown. And she got to definitely do a little education with these staff members who may or may not be Sea Org members. One looked a little familiar to me from back in the day. But check this out. This is in front of Portland. You can see cults written there, and something else was written by the door. And 2 staff members are out there using wet broom tech to clean it up.
SPTVfoundation.org 727-266-5797. Oh, what a crappy broom. You guys have all this money and you can't even get a decent broom. How much money do you make per week? How come if communication is the universal solvent, y'all can't communicate? How come you guys have no personality, but you administer personality tests? You know what? I got a whole box of chalk. SPTV.
I got a whole box of chalk. She could just be there all day. And some of you had some great comments on that previous clip. It could be. It could be. It could be. I like the reasons you were coming up with. But yes, it was just great. I love that. I've got a whole box of chalk. It was surprising to me that they were out cleaning it up while she was still there, because we often don't see that. Seems like they'll wait for the protesters and live streamers to leave and then get out there and clean it up. But yeah, just kind of, it is odd too that it's like, you know, with a broom, I guess a mop. I don't know how you would do it. So maybe L. Ron Hubbard said the way to clean up chalk when people are writing cult in front of the building is to use water and a broom. And now they have to do it because L. Ron Hubbard said, because they have to do everything L. Ron Hubbard says, as he said it should be done. All right. We had the other day, worlds were colliding in all of the best ways, because surrounded by Scientology, Clearwater George was in Denver and got to meet Denver Scientology Audit Jay. And I just love this. You know, I love it when people come together, especially when they share it so we can see it as well. Check this out.
You never guess what? We're live. Denver. Who's this guy over here? Let's see if I can switch this around. This looks like a nice setup for going over fence tech. Hello, Denver Jay.
Clearwater George.
How are you?
Pleasure to meet you, man.
Good to meet you as well.
Wow. Awesome. I'm glad you made it in safe. How's the flight?
Everything's fine. Yeah. Leave it up to the pilots whenever I fly. Good to meet you.
Yeah, man.
So this is where I was here a couple months ago.
Okay.
And I went and saw the nice lady up front. Hey.
How great is that? Clearwater George, surrounded by Scientology here on YouTube, got to go to Denver and then meet up with Denver Scientology Audit Jay when he was there. I love it. I love it so much, you guys. I love it when they come together. It's just so cool. And there's Jay now. Hey, Jay. It was awesome meeting Clearwater George. I can't wait to get some time with him again once I get mobile. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, it's going to be so great. Yep. Love seeing them together. Me too. So much. Okay, you guys, we are going to jump into this Los Angeles Times article that came out early this morning. Ooh, it is definitely a, ooh, I love this. And you know what? It's about time. It is about time. All right. How are we? Speaking of time. All right. We're good. We're good on time. And if you guys are jumping in and realizing that, like, hey, we've been doing this recap for a while, I had to go a little early today because of a meeting afterwards. So roll with it. If you're jumping in, go back and you can go ahead and catch the earlier part on the replay because we covered some great stuff. Everybody, please hit that like button as well. That's going to help get notifications out. And please remember to check your subscribe button and click it if it needs to be clicked. Okay. Scientology tried to derail Star's R trial by harassing prosecutor. Suit says church calls claim false. What? Scientology is saying that a claim in the media against them that is critical is false? Stop the presses. Could this be? All right, let's take a look at this craziness. This, again, is the LA Times. Nearly 6 months after actor Danny Masterson was convicted of SAing two fellow members of the Church of Scientology, lawyers for his victims filed a document that contained a stunning new allegation against the faith, submitted in a downtown Los Angeles court as part of a years-old civil lawsuit against Scientology. The document referenced a purported effort by the church to derail the criminal proceedings against Masterson. What? What? Scientology trying to derail a court case against a Scientologist or them? No, say it isn't so. Oh, it's so. It is so. It is so. Let's keep reading this. Defendants and their agents engaged in a campaign of harassment and intimidation directed at one of the prosecutors assigned to defendant Masterson's trial. The declaration from civil attorney Simon Lean read that prosecutor's home and car windows were broken. The prosecutor's home electronics were tampered with, and defendant's agents surveilled the prosecutor. Let that sink in. The December 2023 declaration didn't name the prosecutor or offer any additional detail, and Lean declined to comment. The claim, which was deep within a 372-page document, has not been previously reported. The church has vigorously denied that Scientology had anything to do with the incidents involving the prosecutor. Okay. Of course, they're going to deny they had anything to do with it. Let's look at the history of Scientology. Do they have a history of harassing people, prosecutors, people looking into them, editors of newspapers, critics of Scientology, reporters, government officials, the IRS? Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Do they have a history of breaking into homes or offices, maybe of people critical of Scientology or government officials like the IRS and 136 government agencies? Yes, they do. I got to tell you, though, I feel like it's been a hot minute since they've pulled some of this stuff. So this is blowing my mind because I don't know. I believe so much in people and their ability to change that sometimes I'll let it get the best of me and start thinking like, I don't know, maybe they're just not doing certain things now anymore. Like that would be good. Maybe they learned their lesson. No, they did not. They doubled down. Yeah, total history of blackmail. Totally. All right, let's take a look at more of this. But it was not the first time the church was quietly and publicly accused of attempting to interfere in Masterson's years-long legal saga. In a speech last fall, LA County Deputy District Attorney Reinhold Mueller delivered remarks that contained allegations nearly identical to those from the lawsuit, according to a video reviewed by The Times. In the speech, given after he received an award for his work on the Masterson case, Mueller told hundreds of colleagues, including former District Attorney Jackie Lacey, about a pattern of disturbing incidents he allegedly experienced in late 2022 ahead of the sitcom star's first trial. Mueller said he was run off the road and that his home was vandalized, according to the video. He also said that cellular and internet service had been inexplicably knocked out at his residence. LAPD detectives on the case were also stalked, Mueller said in the video, and had their photographs taken while they were off duty. Mueller didn't directly blame Scientology in his speech, but two law enforcement sources told The Times that he accused the church of being behind the incidents in discussions with the LA County District Attorney's Office Bureau of Investigation, which reviews threats against prosecutors. So this is Mueller. Los Angeles police officers responded to an attempted break-in at Mueller's home in February 2022, according to a document reviewed by The Times. Responding officers noted damage to a window and described the incident as an attempted burglary, according to the document, which describes the suspect as unknown. After the break-in, the district attorney's office conducted a threat assessment of Mueller's home and had security stationed there for at least one night, said the sources, who requested anonymity because they were not authorized to speak to the media. Mueller declined a request for an interview, and a spokeswoman for the district attorney's office declined to comment. No criminal charges have arisen from Mueller's claims, and it does not appear the prosecutor has provided evidence for his allegations that the incidents were carried out at the direction of the church. Karen Powell, here we go with this Karen Powell nonsense. I don't even know if this woman is real. Does she even still really exist? We see her name, we don't see her. But okay, let's go with it. Let's pretend Karen Powell is not being held in a hole somewhere, but actually gave this quote. Karen Powell, a spokesperson for the church, said, allegations that the church harassed or intimidated witnesses, prosecutors, or law enforcement officers are categorically false. There is zero evidence to support these scandalous allegations. Indeed, all available evidence demonstrates the church had nothing to do with the alleged acts. Whatever, Karen, whatever. We all know the history, but okay. Let's see. Powell said anti-Scientology bias was on display throughout the trial. She has accused a judge of making an unconstitutional interpretation of church doctrine and also alleged Mueller is biased against the church. Oh, I'm sure it has nothing at all to do with the crimes and the harassment that Scientology has perpetuated over decades. Mueller, however, was not the only person involved in the Masterson case to accuse the church of harassment and intimidation. LAPD detectives who investigated the actor also said they had been surveilled, watched, or experienced some type of harassment, which they attributed to agents or individuals from the Church of Scientology, according to former LAPD chief Michael Moore. An LAPD investigation turned up no proof that the church harassed the detectives, Moore said in an interview late last year. One of the women behind the December legal filing that contained the harassment allegations involving a prosecutor was Chrissy Carnell Bixler, who claimed in the suit that the church or its agents tampered with her home security systems and vandalized her car, and described an incident in which someone attempted to run her off the road after she accused Masterson of rape. Sounds familiar. The Times typically withholds the identity of victims of SA, but Bixler has spoken publicly about the case and is a named plaintiff in the suit. Another plaintiff in the case, whose name is not public, alleged that unidentified men were following her in downtown LA during the trial. The church has repeatedly denied wrongdoing in that lawsuit, and Masterson dismissed it as an attempt to smear Scientology when it first filed in 2017. Masterson was convicted on 2 counts of rape in May 2023 and sentenced to 30 years in prison. The count involving Bixler resulted in a hung jury. Masterson has filed an appeal on the other counts. The civil lawsuit remains pending. A Times review of court documents also found that during the Masterson trial, a longtime Scientology attorney tried to affect the outcome of an unrelated case involving the church in the same courthouse. According to court transcripts, LA County prosecutors and the public defender's office, the church's lawyers, tried to broker a plea deal for a man accused of attacking a Scientology security guard, offering to help negotiate lesser charges, as long as the man said his actions were inspired by a Scientology critic. Did you guys get that? They were going to lessen the charges as long as the person said his actions were inspired by a Scientology critic. Give me a break, Scientology. You guys tried this stuff with Leah Remini, blaming her for the actions of somebody else, trying to get them to say that it was inspired because of Leah Remini and Scientology aftermath. It's just BS. It stinks. It smells. We all see it for what it is. But nonetheless, this is I love that they're being called out on it. All right. So Powell, this is this Karen Powell, allegedly from Scientology. She is a person, just no one's seen her. I think they just use her name for these media things. Powell called the allegations against the church delusional and biased against Scientology. Pot kettle Scientology. The entire story is a work of fiction. It is the church that is being harassed, and it is the church that is being subjected to false allegations. The initial rape case against Masterson ended in a mistrial, and Mueller recounted in his award acceptance speech that concerns about Scientology were a constant before it reached a courtroom. He spoke about bringing a colleague into the case and said, "I felt it was important to let her know that this was the Church of Scientology, and they have a strong influence in this case. They've had a big impact on these victims, and I wanted her to have a heads up that there may be some shenanigans, some harassment, stalking, retaliation. Those things might be a possibility." Two other attorneys declined to sit second chair in the case for fear of church interference. Mueller said in the video before Deputy District Attorney Ariel Anson took the job. Anson declined to be interviewed for this story. Mueller was the only prosecutor known to have alleged any harassment. While he was on a trip outside California shortly before Masterson's second trial, Mueller received a panic phone call from his wife, said the two officials not authorized to speak publicly. So multiple people now have confirmed and said that this is true. She'd heard glass breaking and went downstairs to find a window had been damaged. The incident led district attorneys' investigations to guard Mueller's home overnight. Los Angeles police were also called to the scene, police records show. Unknown suspect used unknown tool to break glass. Suspect did not make entry and fled, read the LAPD report, which listed Mueller's wife as the victim. LAPD Captain Kelly Muniz, the deputy's chief spokeswoman, said an investigation into the break-in remains ongoing. Powell said the church has never been contacted by Mueller or the district attorney's office about the alleged harassment. She called the claims outlandish and unbelievable on their face. Oh my goodness. How much longer is this? Okay. It is next level, you guys. Tell me in the chat. Tell me in the comments, right? I'm going to kind of skim through the rest of it because it is kind of long. I put the whole thing. I linked it down below. Oh, look, there's a picture of Mike. Mike Rinder, a member of the Aftermath Foundation's board, once served as head of the Office of Special Affairs and described it as Scientology's CIA in a recent declaration in Remini's lawsuit. Rinder, a former Scientology spokesperson, said the church's tactics include hiring private investigators to surveil and intimidate targets, harassing targets' family, friends, and employers in order to intimidate them, and enlisting homeless and mentally ill people to harass and intimidate targets, according to the declaration. Now, you guys, how many times did we see in these LA protests? How many times? Where there, especially early on at the Hollywood Testing Center, when William Good was there and Jessica PALMADESSA was there and Confident Chris and people started joining, how many unhinged people showed up who seemed to be mentally disturbed? And now it's like confirmation again, that is a tactic from Scientology. They will manipulate people, which you know what? That's like doubling down. It is one thing to hire a private investigator or hire lawyers who hire a private investigator who then harass people, right? That's not okay. That's culty. But to hire people who are mentally ill or trying to recover from addiction to do this is a whole nother level of being manipulating and taking advantage of people in vulnerable positions. I cannot tell you how much this thrills me that this article has come out. You can read the whole thing linked down below. There is a little bit more to it, but we're not going to get into that because I just want to talk about it. Tell me, you guys, what do you think about this? Let's talk about it. Carrie says LA Times did protesters dirty. Maybe this article will help public understand why protesters are out there and that protesters are not the source of the problems. Yes. Thank you, Carrie. Exactly. That is exactly the point. Even the LA Times now is coming out and catching up to these shenanigans that this is done. We've been talking about it since the beginning. And honestly, critics of Scientology, people who've left, Scientology protesters, ex-Scientologists, whatever you want to call them, have been talking about this for decades. Decades. This has been going on, this type of harassment and attempts at intimidation. And I want to stress attempts. Sometimes it works for certain people, but most of the time, if you're going up against Scientology in a big way, you already, you're not going to be intimidated by that kind of stuff. But they're being called out on it now. They absolutely are. This is a good point. Escaping Falcon's Maze. There's a recording of the sign toe security guys trying to get in contact with skateboard guy. That is true. We shared that clip when I think it came out. And for those that don't know, skateboard guy was originally part of the protest, but ended up being a nasty character and stalking and harassing multiple protesters. And it is on video where Scientology is approaching him, telling him that they want to help him. They want to help him. They want to pay him to continue harassing, the protesters even more. Yep, Marina, and they have tax exempt status too. Fluffer Squirrel UK, cult of Scientology are predatory through and through. Absolutely they are. Susan, thank you for that reminder for everybody to smash that like button. I appreciate that. Sandy McKenna, Scientology will sink to the lowest level possible. How can this even be considered a church? That again is the whole point. This is not, I don't see this happening in other churches. And when somebody says, when you're out there protesting or sharing, or you tell people, well, Scientology is a cult, and they do that, well, all religions are a cult. That is a wussy, wimp out, inability to face what the truth actually is and what Scientology is doing. It is not the same at all. And this backs that up even more. It is, who does that? Who does that? Yep, Peace Lady, I agree. It's some crazy blank for sure. It completely is. And Xenu Free points out a lot of the people who attack the protesters seem like they did a stint in Narconon. That is very true. Narconon is Scientology's front group where they pretend that they can help people recover from drugs and addiction. They have a huge failure rate. There have been in the media for years, for decades, the scams, even around Narconon and their program, insurance fraud, all kinds of things. And yeah, we've seen where it seemed like they were using people from Narconon for some of these shenanigans and dirty tricks. Mary Gregor, imagine the harassment the LA Times is going to get. They're used to it, I think. Well, maybe not the people there now, but this is the thing. It needs to keep being exposed and pointed out and shared. Before, Scientology might have been able to intimidate a news publication into not running a story. They've done it a ton of times. They cannot suppress the news of this spreading like this and the multitude of different platforms on social media where people can share about this and raise awareness. This is how we're getting the word out. Absolutely, we are. MENA, standard media traffic to refer to protesters without investigating or reporting what they are protesting about, as if they're just some random troublemakers. Yeah, we have seen that too. We have absolutely seen that too. Bronzy, yes, we just highlight the high control elements which other religions completely lack. That is very true. That's the thing. It is not the same thing. Kara says Narconon is crazy. I called them once to complain that they were Scientologists and called them out on it. And now they have continued to spam. Call me like Scientologist once or twice a month since. Kara, what do they say when they call? What is it that they want? Are they trying to get you to go to, like, does Narconon host events for recruitment? I'm not sure. I am not sure. Bottoms Up saying last night Hamburger Guy was back at Poubelle fishing for info from Selfless and D.O.A. So Hamburger Guy is a guy who I think he works next door to La Poubelle, but for some reason decided to follow protesters around on foot and in his vehicle, because that's not creepy or weird at all. But it was, and it is. So a lot of things are brewing, people. A lot of things are brewing, and we're here for it. We're going to be covering it. Natalie at lifeafteroccult.com. Please email me. Email me clips that you see. Email me links to videos, protest videos. Give me a timestamp. Tell me what you're seeing, articles, all that good stuff so that we can continue to all share about this. I watch a lot of content, but I can't cover it all. And I honestly, truly, you guys appreciate your help and do actually really need it. The more clips and things you can send me, then it doesn't take me as long to put this together. And I could really use that help right now. So thank you for doing that. Kara says, I called them yesterday. So this is Narcanon, and told them to remove me off their list. And I told them the only reason I called them was to complain. I think they need services, I guess, but I told them to stop calling. Okay, you got to update us on whether or not they stop. Because you guys remember our favorite Scientology spy, Diane, More Fun Than Sitting at Home is her YouTube channel. She was on this channel 2 times spilling the tea, and they still called and emailed her. Now I think they just send her snail mail. I think that's what it is. I think that's all it is. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Everybody hit that like button. Do me a huge favor. Make sure your subscribe is checked as well. I will be, let's see, I don't even know what the rest of today holds. That's why when you do subscribe, you want to hit that notification bell so you get notifications for when I go live and do interviews and things throughout the day. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate all of your help. In the meantime, I hope you guys all get out today and have an amazing cult-free day.